The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get.
He missed the complete. He's crazy
Side by side,
stuff.
Freitas is on the grass on the infield for 4. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Welcome to DIYSim.com, your source for your entire do-it-yourself simulator building experience. Whether your goal is to build a full-motion flight simulation cockpit with all 6 degrees of freedom, or find plans to build a full-motion racing simulation cockpit with anywhere from 1 degree of freedom all the way up to 6, DIY Sim has the products, plans, and resources to help you make it happen. Our DIY Sim brand is backed by one of the most innovative sim-building organizations in the world. Simcraft creates driver, in-the-loop simulators with proper kinetics for motion simulation, a technology that is unique to Simcraft and which accurately recreates high-speed vehicle dynamics. Simcraft simulator systems enable drivers to develop and enhance their car control skills efficiently and effectively, any track, any car, any day, all day. DIYSim.com has it all. Please start and finish your sim building experiences with us.
In a season that has seen many drivers struggle to come to grips with the powerful Daytona prototypes, Alex Bilbao looks to be the first to truly get on top of this incredible machine. With a mere 4 rounds left, the Brazilian has arrived at Watkins Glen International with momentum on his side. Can he make it a hat trick of wins? We'll find out as we get ready to watch round 6 of the DIYSim.com American Road Tour live on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak. With me in the booth tonight are Ayrton Ellis and Bill Zahn. Our cameras have been provided by Dougie Beard and are directed by Kevin Brown. Ayrton, this track will make for a short lap for the drivers today. Tell us a bit about the course.
Well, you're right, it's a short lap. It's only just over 1 minute long. It's 2.45 miles long, or 3.94 kilometers, and has only 8 turns, 3 of those being left-handers, so quite a lot of right-handers for these guys. They're burning those left side tires. And we're running a 45-minute stint race for these guys. They have to make 1 mandatory pit stop throughout the event of the race.
Well, with Alex Bilbao being our only 2-time winner for this season right now, Bill, it looks like he's starting to consolidate his championship lead. What is it looking like in the points?
Well, Joe, it's the spring or autumn equinox for these drivers, depending on what hemisphere they're in. Summer is turning to fall and winter is turning to spring. And how does that relate to these points? What is my segue? I don't remember why I'm talking about this. Well, let's just move to the point. There was some point to that. Okay, here we go.
Always on point, Bill. Let's go.
Alex Bilbao is your point leader, and Anderson Moda is in second. All right, hang on, I'm back. Anderson Moda is in second. Kyle Potts is in third. Now, Ruben Velasco and Bruno Rossetto and Matthew Thrill round out 5th and 6th there. A couple drivers to keep an eye on. I'm looking at him. He's at the top of the practice times right now, and that's Jonathan Scalaro from New York. And also, not on your top 5 list there is Daniel Santos. He's down in 9th place. He's missed a couple races. He's always good. Let me segue this back to you, Joe.
Well, you got that one good. The interesting thing about Potts is that he is without a win, yet he's in 3rd position. He's ahead of some very fast guys like Velasco, Rossetto have both won a race. Anderson Moda, obviously, he's behind, but he's only behind him by, it looks like, about 36 points, I believe. Yeah, 36 points. So, Potts, you have to give him credit. He has really, he's had a few stumbles along the way, shall we say, and he's always recovered. He's always had incredible drives to get him back into the top 10.
Yeah, surprising. With a little luck, he's like you were talking about. He's not that far behind second place. With a little luck, he would have been farther up the standings.
Absolutely. So right now we are watching qualifying, and this track is going to provide some interesting challenges. Obviously, Ayrton, the lap traffic is going to be very interesting with its very short length with 2.5 miles around. And it's also very old school. There's very little room for runoff.
Yeah, the walls are right next to this track, and definitely some of these corners are difficult to pass on. I mean, one of the few passing opportunities is actually the inner loop, but it's actually pretty difficult to pass this car in because you're going so fast through it, and you really have to get ahead before the braking zone in order to complete a pass there. Turn 1 is probably going to be the best passing opportunity for these guys, and thankfully it does have a lot of runoff space for these guys. Also at the exit of the carousel, there's a good amount of runoff space. But besides that, those walls are pretty close.
Yeah, and that turn 1 has been a point of contention in some series, Bill. It allows you, with it being paved, to run wide and kind of get away with it. But then we've seen, both in real life and in sim racing, that it can cause some problems trying to re-enter.
I'm not sure what camera angle we're going to have for it. The traditional camera angle is headed down the straightaway, and you see the cars just come in right before the grass. I've been watching the practices, and that's what they're doing right now. They're using up every inch of it, and then getting themselves back onto the track is a relative term. They're just missing the grass when they come back in. So if there's a passing opportunity there, you've got to let the guy on the outside back onto the track. It's going to be interesting to see if something gets squeezed up on the grass.
It no doubt will happen at some point, and the first lap obviously is a prime spot for that to unfold, and unfortunately everything here really funnels down after it, so it's almost like a perfect storm. If it starts to go wrong, it's just a chain reaction.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen quite a few races where there's just one spin at the start of the race, right after that turn 1, and because of that really tight S section and there's nowhere to go with one car blocking the path, it caused a whole chaotic effect. So these guys have to be careful. Let's hope we don't see something like Road Atlanta again.
Yeah, that's, as I was writing up the script today, that's exactly what came to mind, is we could see a repeat of that all over again. Let's really hope not that, yeah, no, I hear you, Bill. That was, although you have to admit, that was probably the most entertaining race we've had all season in this series.
Joe, it was entertaining, but it breaks my heart to see guys, because it's not just the effort they put in here like a couple hours before the race. A lot of these guys are practicing all week long. And sometimes it's really surprising how close the simulated racing mirrors the heartbreak of like real racing. I mean, they've worked all week long, and all of a sudden their race is done before the first corner.
And we were getting some information about someone blowing their engine. You can see it seems like a number of cars have blown their engine, or maybe that's still the same one that we're seeing some smoke from. They are, if you're confused as to why you can't see that, it looks like we're looking at Dustin Wardlow, and I'm not sure if he was the one. But anyways, they are on track by themselves, although you can see certain things like smoke and such, even though they're all on there simultaneously, because they are doing solo qualifying laps. They get 4 laps out there to get it right.
I don't understand. Try that again. They're all qualifying at once, but we can only see one car at a time.
Yes, so they essentially each have their own individual version of Watkins Glen that they are racing at the same time out there. So they are all being scored at once, but they do not see each other and cannot run into each other out on track. So that's, if you're new to sim racing, welcome to the wonderful world, the confusing world of racing simulations. But as we watch George Fike work his way around where he is, he's currently sitting 20th in qualifying. He's on his 4th lap right now. I think we've got, see Anderson Moda is still on lap 3, so is Daniel Santos. So it looks like we got a couple guys. Hiro Kanaya hasn't put his lap in. In fact, he's only scored on lap 1 right now. And Bill, you have to give this guy credit, because he keeps coming out and he keeps putting those laps in.
Hiro Kanaya don't need those stinking qualifying laps. He'll start from the back. It'll be interesting though. I'd be surprised if he does this kind of a tricky pit stop strategy. That's not really in his makeup to be sneaky. A lot of these guys have been pitting on the green flag, like actually before they even start the race. They're coming around for the green flag, and they're going to dash in and they're going to fill up their tank and run the distance. So we're going to keep an eye on some of the back markers who like to do that. It's really, Joe, kind of a good idea.
It is, and for those that are kind of new to racing, the theory behind this is, and it actually is pretty effective, the first few laps are usually your slowest, simply because you're around a lot of traffic. So if you duck away, and obviously nobody else or very few other people do employ the same method, because we could get a silly situation where too many people do it and it's not effective anymore. But anyways, so if you're by yourself, everybody else is running some slow laps and you're just out rifling them off. You can just do hot laps all by yourself, and eventually, hopefully if it works, you leapfrog them later on in the race. Now, Ayrton, there is a bit of a downside to that with the tires.
Yeah, these guys, the ones who pit in the middle of the race, obviously have the opportunity to take new tires, which you can't take at the start of the race because you've only run one lap on it. So those guys will have the benefit of, at the very end of the race, having fresher tires, and possibly that might be able to win them a late race battle. But, I mean, if there's ever a race this season that you would want to do that first lap, first pit stop strategy, I think it would be Watkins Glen, because I feel like there would be a lot of chaos in this first lap.
Little by little, this is becoming a more popular strategy, and it reminds me of the old Yogi Berra saying, or nobody goes to that restaurant anymore, it's too crowded. I think that's what's going to happen with this strategy. If everyone starts to come in on the first lap to pit, it kind of defeats the purpose, Joe.
That is a very appropriate quote for that one. As we watch Romer Alcala put the rest of his laps in, you can see he's currently 8th in the qualifying. I'm watching one of your favorites, Bill, John Kelly, out there, currently sitting pretty far back, and he's one of the biggest users of that off strategy method, and went into great effect into that race that we mentioned in Road Atlanta. So we've got just a little bit to go, and I want to kind of wait until we get some more laps in from people to make sure that everything is solid on qualifying before we read that out. A few things to talk about, though, and some stories of the race, obviously. Ayrton, you mentioned the long corners taking a bit of a toll on the tires, and this is kind of a unique road course in that sense, especially with some of the banking that it has.
Yeah, especially turn 1 and the carousel, they really burn those left side tires, and I wouldn't be surprised if some guys in their pit stops take just left side tires. I'm not sure if that might be a strategy. We've seen quite a few variations in tire strategy this season. We've seen some guys take just front tires, which didn't prove very useful as a lot of guys spun. But I definitely can think it's a possibility, because there's some really fast right-hand corners here.
You know, maybe our director, who knows familiar with this car, here. Seems like these cars change front and back tires. Front tires first, back tires first. Am I right on that, Kevin? Is he going to whisper to me about that, or he's not going to tell me so? He doesn't know. Anybody? I think it's front, because I remember race 1, Joe, you can remember this. We did the first race where a lot of the guys just changed front tires, and it ended up being a disaster.
Yeah, and Ayrton mentioned that briefly. It really, they thought they were being a little tricky with that one. It turned out to completely unbalance the car, and you saw some of the fast guys, like I believe it was Anderson Moda, who was just slipping and sliding everywhere.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, and you know, that actually brings me to another point. Something that we've seen in a lot of these races is that there have been some of our fast guys that have really suffered from mistakes, and particularly early on in the race, when so many cars are clumped together, you lose so many more positions with those early mistakes.
Yeah, and we can even recall, like, even when you aren't within the pack, at Sebring, Alex Blau, he was running in first place, made a mistake going into the hairpin, and lost a lot of position. So the worst time to make mistakes is probably the beginning of the race.
Well, it looks like we have qualifying pretty much done. Everybody seems to have put their laps in, so let's run through. Jonathan Scarallo, interestingly, is on pole. He's finally made good of that sudden surge in pace recently. Alex Bilal completes the front row in second, with Daniel Santos in third. Bruno Rossetto, former winner this season, is in fourth, followed by Leandro Schmidt in fifth. Then Ricardo Ignacio in sixth, followed by Derek Waller in seventh, Romer Alcala in eighth, Anderson Moda, a little bit farther down than we're used to seeing him, in ninth, and Dustin Wardlow in 10th, Ayrton.
Then Ruben Velasco in 11th, a little farther down than we're used to seeing him. Kyle Potts in 12th, Marcio Arizon in 13th, Matthew Thill in 14th, Matt Malone in 15th, Logan Knapp in 16th, then John LaBaff, Bruce Poole in 18th, Brian Shanahan in 19th, and George Fike in 20th. Bill?
21st is Les McGovern. Mark Robertson follows him. Lance Snyder's behind him. The last two drivers are Patrick Nguyen. And there he is in the back of the field there. Wait a minute, let me scroll down a little bit more. Is Jonathan Kelly. Nope, and there he is, scooting up. One more guy. Kanea didn't put in a lap time. Attaboy, Hero. Let's see if Hero takes the... I'm going to give you the over-under on Hero. The over-under is 20. Let's see if he can get inside the top 20 this race.
Let's see if he can make up 6 positions. It's not unheard of, and especially if we have attrition this race. As we said, these barriers are incredibly close, so mistakes will be punished. You can see the drivers now lining up on the grid. They will do a pace lap, which this series starts behind the pace car, and then these guys will get going for 45 minutes around Watkins Glen for round 6 of the DIYSim.com American Road Tour. Just a quick reminder, you can get a hold of us, GSRC, on Twitter at GSR channel. We do try to keep an eye on it. These races are a little bit hectic, so we can't promise that we'll answer any questions on air, but we do try to keep an eye on things. And if we see someone has pinged us, we will try to answer your question live during the broadcast. You can also get a hold of us on Facebook at /Global Sim Racing channel. And then also, if you're watching on YouTube, if you leave us comments on our YouTube video during the race, we keep an eye on those and we will try to answer those as well. So make sure and keep hold of us through social media during and after and between our races. So we have currently the race organizer talking to the drivers at the moment, just giving them a little bit of a last second drivers meeting before the pace car takes off, and it should be getting going pretty soon here. And then thankfully, with it being a short lap, we're going to go racing very soon, Ayrton.
Yeah, and I think this is a really competitive field at the moment. A lot of these guys, I think the top 8 are all within, top 9 are actually within half a second. So these guys are really close in pace for this race.
Joe,
and of course, go
Joe,
ahead, Bill.
You always ask us, who do you like for this race? I'm going to let you go first.
I've got my eye on Alex Blau. He's kind of on form at the moment. He's won the last 2 races. He's leading the championship. He's currently sitting in second, so he's looking pretty good at the moment, I think. What about you guys?
Well, I'm going to go with the long shot, the guy from New York. I'm going to go with Jonathan Scalaro. It looks like he's really been coming in his own this last couple races, and here he is on the pole. If he can make it if he can have the lead in the first corner, I think he's got a good shot at this.
Well, he's going to have the inside, so it should be doable. Go ahead, Ayrton.
Well, you guys have the top 2 qualifiers, so I guess I'm gonna take the third one, Daniel Santos. I think he's really fast, so I think if he can not make any mistakes, that he'll definitely be a contender.
Yeah, I think it's good to see Santos back up in there, and I don't think we've seen him qualify in the top 3 recently. I'm trying to remember where he qualified in previous rounds.
I think he was up there last race.
Yeah.
It was their top row last race, at least.
So he could just not be getting the results that he needs. Where is he sitting in the points, actually? I'm going to check real quick here. Santos is sitting at least not within... Oh, excuse me. He's sitting 9th at the moment, Santos is. So definitely not getting the points results that his pace merits at the moment. We see Anderson Moda lost connection, though. So Moda is not on the grid. He is going to have to start from pit lane if he can get back in.
Ooh, that's not good.
Definitely, and if you're new to sim racing, if you lose your internet connection, obviously that is effectively like your car just stalling out on the track or wherever you're sitting at the moment. So he unfortunately is going to have to reconnect and is not going to be starting this race how he wanted to. One more corner for the pace car now. This final right-hander, which has no runoff on the outside, so you have to watch out throughout the race to see who is going to push the limit there. Pace car peels off. Jonathan Scarallo has control of the field. He goes right away, gets a big jump over Alex Bilao. In fact, Santos is already on the inside of Alex down into turn 1. Behind them, Rossetto is looking to see if he can capture something, and there is a car that did make it a wild dive. That was Ricardo Ignacio. Now they file in very close moments between Bilal and Rossetto there, but Rossetto comes out on top, so Bilal loses 2 positions. Farther down the field, it looks like everybody is through clean.
Brian Shanahan got in a little trouble, but yeah, it's okay.
Now they head to the inner loop as cars were diving way on the inside that we could see there. Oh, and we've got 2 wide already on lap 1. There's contact. That's Derek Waller out to the outside, trying to hold on to it. He's going to get a cut course. He comes back on, almost runs into, oh, excuse me, that was Derek Waller that almost was hit. Who was that that was off
Schmidt.
course? It was Leandro Schmidt. So,
Yeah, he had contact with Ricardo Ignacio with the
George
hectic
Fike got
moments
into
already.
trouble in the back as well. George Fike spun it out.
A number of cars already in the tight confines of this course running into problems, having contact with one another, while up front it is still Scarallo in the lead, while just ahead of Santos, followed by Rossetto. So 2 cars have gained positions up at the top in this first lap. Bilal has minimized the damage, thankfully, and is still holding on in 4th, though.
And Scarallo is actually the only one in these top 4 that has not gained a win this season.
We are on board with John Kelly, and we're on board with Daniel Santos, but it looks like the information we're seeing on screen is incorrect, and Santos is actually into first. He has just gotten past Rossetto, so excuse me. No, he got past Jonathan Scarallo. Sorry, I was just discombobulated for a moment there. So Jonathan Scarallo now sits in 2nd, following Daniel Santos in the lead as they head through Indianapolis.
And Joe, I just want Mark Robertson, Matt Thrill, and also George White got into a first lap accident. It looks like Thrill has put it in the wall. I think he's going to be done.
Matthew Thill not having the start he wanted today, that's for sure. I'm not seeing him on track, and looks like he is definitely going to be slotted into last. Right now, last on the course that I'm seeing is John Kelly, in fact, who did take his usual strategy. And look at this, Hiro Kanaya up into 19th.
That's it. Hold that position, I make a little money.
Well, right now, let's go back up to the
Scarallo.
front because Daniel Santos is under threat from Scarallo, but he holds on to it into the inner loop. Did you say someone had spun, Ayrton?
No, I said Scarallo. Actually, Rossetto was trying to make it past Scarallo, but then Scarallo tried to make a move on Santos while Rossetto was on his outside, so that kind of forced Rossetto to actually back off.
I was going to say 2 wide is difficult enough. 3 wide is never going to work. While Rossetto looking to the inside, coming to Indianapolis, he has a nose in, but it's a fast left-hander. He knows that there's just not enough to try and sneak that one in that way. So back into 3rd position for Bruno.
And Anderson Moda did start from the pits. So now the question is, I'm going to try to review and figure out if he actually can take gas. I don't know if he has to make a pit stop or not.
Ooh, that would be an interesting strategy. I guess it should be essentially no different than John Kelly's usual run and gun. So it's just going to have to be a climb to the top for him if he can take gas from there. I believe he can. Meanwhile, we are still on board with Rossetto as Scarallo's got a run on Santos. He's trying to look as Santos goes defensive onto the outside for Scarallo. He's got a nose ahead this time. They go 2 by 2 and just has to back out of it as he gets squeezed at the apex. Meanwhile, behind them, this means that Rossetto is being closed upon by Alex and Ricardo Ignacio. So we've got a train of 5 now.
And you can stay up there just to follow up on Moda. He's 2 laps down, so I think the pit stop is moot point.
Yeah, this is damage limitation mode for him right now.
He just spun it right now, so
Alex Blau into pits.
Alex has decided that he is being slowed up by this guy, and considering his pace at Barber last round a week ago, this could be an excellent call by Bilal if he doesn't come out in traffic.
It's the first time this season that we've seen a front runner pitting so early, so this could be a really interesting strategy.
Joe, I'm going to use my yachting analogy again. Rossetto has got to cover his tack. Bilal has pitted. Rossetto's got to come in right now, or Bilal's going to eat him up.
Absolutely, could be seeing some leapfrogging as we're still with our top guys, with Scarallo taking a look up the inside of Santos, but there's nothing doing there. Santos is off the course, and Scarallo just breezes around us. I believe he's going to get a good course for that one. Yeah, look at him having to slow up now.
Oh, and he pushes off Ignacio off the track.
He somehow survives it. I think he had all four wheels off, Ignacio did, and still got around him. So Santos is down into, I believe, 4th position.
See how I announced Rossetto has the lead? That's why I get paid the big money.
So right now, though, he is not the leader, unfortunately, so Scarallo still holds the lead. Rossetto is back up there into 2nd place. He is one of the winners we've seen. Scarallo has not won a race yet, so he is going to be hungry for that one, especially since he has been on great form so far in recent days, although he kind of threw it away at Barber last week. Right now, Rossetto's got a really good run. Does Scarallo go defensive? He does. Oh, he squeezes him all the way to the grass. He still gets by. Does he hold on to it? Yes, he does. Incredible stuff. The question is that going to be considered passing off course? That is incredible.
What do you think about that one, Aaron?
Well, Scarallo, he moved to defend the position after Rossetto tried to make the move. Now he's going to try to make a comeback.
Now,
same exact scenario.
Yes, let's go back to live. He almost did the exact same thing to him, and yet he still got by once again. We're seeing almost a bit of draft battles going on here between our two leaders. Scarallo back to the lead after an incredible very early in the race. We're only on lap 6. We still have 38 minutes left to go, and a move up the inside by Rossetto down into turn 1, but he backs out of it.
Yeah, I think Aaron called that. That was a defensive move and then some.
Well, meanwhile, behind them, because of this battling, Ricardo Ignacio has gotten backed up by these guys, and so Santos is all the way onto the back of him after cutting the course out of the inner loop. We still got a battle going on up front as Rossetto's going around the outside once again. This time he outbreaks Scarallo, and we've got, almost contact.
Ignacio.
Ignacio is off the track, the inner loop. He gets it turned around. He's losing position after position, though, and we've got another car just ahead of him running into some troubles. I didn't see who that was, though. Looking at the replay real quick of that spin, it was some really light contact, though. It was just touch and go between them.
And while all that's going on, Alex Palau is back there running nice, clean, what Aaron calls, what's it called, an open air, fresh air. He's running some fast laps back there.
Ayrton, you'll have to keep an eye on his lap times and see if he's running faster than our leaders, as he currently has George Fike and Lee McGovern ahead of him, but they're a little ways up the road, so he can still rifle off some good ones. Meanwhile, our leaders are still just swapping back and forth as Bruno Rossetto leads Jonathan Scarallo last time by less than half a second between them.
Derek Waller on Santos.
So it looks like Derek Waller is into a battle, and this is for what position are we looking at here? It looks like 4th position, actually.
And right behind them is actually Romero Alcala. He didn't have a very good race at Barber, but he looks back on pace today.
Absolutely. And I remember I didn't get to interview him last time, and he apologized for some microphone problems. He wants to be there this time. He says he's got his microphone working. So, Romero, you're almost there. You're in the top 5. Just got to keep pushing. He could have a chance to be talking to us after this race. Right now, he is closing in on the back of Waller, who we can see on screen.
Hiro Kanaya has worked his way up to 7th.
So Kanaya right now making some good progress, but remember, that's because Alex Palau is pitted. Kanaya has not yet, but still, Kanaya, I think, I think we could almost give him a bit of a nickname for how much he pushes there, Bill.
Where are you going with this, Joe?
Well, I feel like.
It's the Doria. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
Absolutely, he is the Dory of VSRA. Oh, and Derek Waller completely missed the chicane we can see on screen. So that's going to be a huge slowdown penalty, potentially a black flag, and he's on the radio saying something about it. Sounds like he got blocked by Santos under braking. Maybe he was unsighted. So not sure if he's upset about that or just apologizing for running through there. So right now, let's go through our top 5 real quick. Bruno Rossetto is in the lead. Jonathan Scarallo follows very closely behind in second. Daniel Santos is behind them in third. Then we've got Romero Alcala, and despite blowing that corner, Garrett Waller still is in the top 5. And look behind him. Remember, third place in the championship, Kyle Potts into the top 6 after qualifying 12th. He has made up a lot of positions.
Now, just to add a little bit, Bilal was knocking off about a half second a lap on the leaders, but now he's got into traffic behind. Let's see, my thing swaps around there. Well, actually, he's got Hiro Kanea ahead of him, and George Fike and Lee McGovern. So Les McGovern. So now he's slowing down a little bit.
Well, we were watching Logan Knapp and Dustin Wardlow, as well as Matt Malone and Leandro Schmidt have a nice little battle. No, excuse me, that's Matt Malone and Logan Knapp, I guess. Yes, Logan Knapp, Ricardo Inacio, and Dustin Wardlow that were all together, excuse me, as they're battling. You can see Matt Malone and the yellow and white machine following behind Logan Knapp.
Oh, got a spin. I'm sorry, and then Bilal got caught up in it.
Oh!
So that's he can go back and catch that.
Let's see. Let's look at the replay here and see what happened. The yellow car is that of Lee McGovern. He got out of sorts, and let's see. It looks like George Fike caught up with him. So that was George Fike in the red machine that ran into him, and poor Alex Bilal had nowhere to go. He has significant damage on his car. We're still looking at that replay. And that's going to hurt those fast laps that he was trying to go through with.
Yeah, that's going to set his strategy really far behind what he thought he would get in air. He's been dealing with lap traffic all race so far.
So he could have a potential method out of this, though. He's got his teammate behind him. And let's see who that is exactly. Looks like Marcio Arizona that's following him. Those are the 2 black and white cars there that you can see on your screen with Alex Bilal in the lead of the 2 of them. So if he let his partner by, he could build, maybe draft him and maybe use that to work his way a little bit faster. Let's go back up front, though, because we've got a battle for the lead between Rossetto and Scarallo.
Rossetto's not even going to try to defend this one. He's letting Scarallo get the inside.
Scarallo in the red and white machine on the inside, heading into there, outbreaks him. Oh, ever so close between them, but Rossetto does eventually let him go. Rossetto in the blue and white machine now in second. These guys, Bill, I feel like this is going to come to tears if they keep at like this.
Yeah, I don't really understand the point of this, other than, you know, I've always said racing for a championship is not as much fun as racing for just the win. And, you know, neither one of these guys are really in the hunt for the championship, so they're out there having fun. But yeah, if I was Daniel Santos in third place, I'd be thinking I was in pretty good place.
And we had a car in the wall that we just saw. I'm trying to figure out who that was. That was Anderson Moda. Anderson Moda's race has gone from bad to worse. Looks like we're going to look at the replay of that. That was coming, he's now coming through Indianapolis on the replay and then heading into the final corner. Oh, he just puts a wheel off out of Indianapolis. That sent him out of sorts. Car gets loose, and wow, like I said, no runoff there, and goes broadside into the tire barrier.
You know, and Ayrton kind of called that when he said, we don't see the leaders doing that early pit stop strategy.
Absolutely. And speaking of the leaders, we've got Scarallo still ahead of Rossetto right now, but Rossetto very close behind. Is he going to hold back this time, or is he going to try and take that lead back? He's looking to take it back once again into Indianapolis, but he backs out of it. This is just too fast of a corner to try that through. But back into second place goes Rossetto in the blue and white machine, who we hop on board with now. Just behind them, Daniel Santos continuing to sit and watch with just a bit of a gap.
Now, if these guys played it really smart, they could actually, since they're getting so much draft on this track, they could use that to an advantage and try to do slingshot maneuvers every few laps and gain some time, but they're really just trying to pass each other and battle for the lead rather than using any strategy.
Now remember, Ricardo Inacio, he started in 6th. I believe he's ran into a few troubles here and there. Currently sitting behind Matt Malone right now. Actually, no, I take that back. Let's go back to the lead where Rossetto is trying to go back around, but he backs out of it before they get to the inner loop. And that has brought Santos right on the back of him, Ayrton. It's a little bit of a look, or Rossetto takes a bit of a look on the inside of Scarallo coming into the carousel, but also backs out of it. Now he's vulnerable, though, as Santos has a run.
No,
fact,
they're
going to
go 3 wide.
Oof. Oh, almost had 3 wide there. Going around the outside. Can he actually make this work? Have the inside for the next corner. He goes off into the grass. He holds onto it. Tries to throw it in. He just tips Scarallo. Scarallo tries to hold onto it. Oh, and he overcorrects into the barrier. No, he just stays out of it. Losing position after position. No chance, no gap. There he goes, finally turning himself around. I said it was going to come to tears, and I didn't think it was going to be in that corner, but there it was. He is down to 11th place, but it's not over for Bruno Rossetto, who now has Daniel Santos on the back of him. After seeing that, there could be a bit of damage on Bruno as Santos looks to the inside, but he's just a little too far back as they head through the inner loop.
Through all that, Kyle Potts has managed to pass Romero Alcala and get onto the podium.
So Kyle Potts is looking at a very good finish today. I'm trying to think, has he gotten a podium yet?
He's gone a top 5. I think it was a 4th or 5th place. It was 5th place, so he hasn't gone a podium.
So this could be a boon for him, sitting 3rd in the championship to help him out. In fact, I believe both the cars in front of him are not ahead of him in the championship, so this could mean that he will make ground on both Bilal and on Moda. So Potts is looking very good right now, and we've still got 27 minutes left to go.
Keep in mind that Bruno Rossetto, he's actually 5th place in the championship. He's only 10 points behind Potts, so he's still kind of in that fight for the championship.
Absolutely, and he's one of our race winners. And Alex in being a 2-race winner in the season. So this could be helpful for his championship hopes, although he's going to have to get a few better results along the way, because looking at the points difference, he is 57 points back from the leader, so that's going to be quite a gap.
Let's go back to 7th real quick. There's a dogfight going on back here between 3 guys. Malone, LaBeouf, and Scolaro.
Looks like Wardlow. Yeah.
It's Wardlow, yeah.
And you can see Malone on your screen in the yellow, black, and white car following the white machine of Dustin Wardlow. Not close enough, but just behind him. A good run from John LaBeouf in the blue and black car. Now as they head towards Indianapolis, he sticks a nose in. He's much farther up than we've seen from other guys, and he manages to make it stick, but he's going to be on the wrong side heading into the final corner. We saw this with the leaders, but this time, John LaBeouf wisely backs out of it. He's got a good run. This is going to be a better opportunity. This is a smart move for him. So now he's got the inside heading down into the 90-degree right-hander of turn 1. Just on the inside, but can't carry his speed. Just behind him, they've got Jonathan Scarallo, who was leading before. He is in a hurry to try and make his positions back up. So this could make it even more interesting now as they head through the S's. Whoa, big moment by LaBeouf there, almost losing control in the S's. Scarallo just breezes on by down the backstretch.
Yes, Scarallo's on a mission.
Now, I have to wonder, Aaron, if I was Scarallo, when I had that spin, I'd almost think the best idea at that point would be to head into the pit stops. We can see Logan Knapp has just spun on screen. That is in the carousel. We're going to see what happened to him.
Ooh, he hit the wall as well. That's not going to hurt his speed. That is going to hurt his speed.
Oh, yeah, that was a quite a thump there. So that's not going to be good for his car. And he's going to lose a few places, I believe, along the way. But as I was saying there, I feel like Scarallo's best chance at that point was just, he's already lost time. Might as well head in and take your pit stop on that lap.
Yeah, it probably would have been a good decision, but to be honest, probably wasn't on his mind. He was probably cursing under his breath after that spin. But also to note, Kyle Potts.
Probably not cursing at himself, though, that's for sure. Kyle Potts has decided it's time to employ some pit strategy as we look at Jonathan Scarallo continue to try and work his way up the field. Currently just gotten by Matt Malone in that yellow and white machine. Oh, but a big bobble from Scarallo, and I think they made contact into the carousel. Still side by side, Scarallo not giving up. He really wants to try and work his way back up the field. This gives John LaBaff a chance. Oh, big bobble or weave from Matt Malone into the side of LaBaff. He is not going to be happy about that one, Bill.
Yeah, you know, again, you don't have to be a mind reader to kind of know what was going on there. Those guys are really hard.
LaBaff kicks off just a little bit, and Matt Malone gets on the radio and says that he's sorry for the move, so at least he understands what he did wrong in that situation. Malone knowing that obviously not intentional to try and run him off the road. Meanwhile, up with Daniel Santos sitting in second right now, trying to hunt down our leader, Bruno Rossetto. Bruno trying to make it 2 wins. Daniel Santos trying to make it 2 wins. Santos, when he won, it was 0 incidents. This is a guy who is clean and consistent when he can get the clear air.
Something to note, guys, is actually Kyle Potts came out of pits behind Alex Palau. So maybe Alex Palau didn't lose as much time as we thought he did, because Kyle Potts was only about 5 seconds, 6 seconds behind the leaders.
Yeah, when Bilal first came out, we have, who's that going into the pits there? Yeah, our leader's going into the pits. When Bilal first came out, he was about 31 seconds behind. Now these guys are about, I think it looks like about 40 behind. So I don't know how we're going to do. Let's keep an eye on our leader.
We've got a number of cars in. Santos elected to stay out, but Rossetto is in. We've also got, looks like, I think I saw Derek Waller is in. Romer Alcala is in. So a bunch of our top 10 drivers have hopped into the pits. Rossetto still in his stall. Meanwhile, we watch Jonathan Scarallo work his way up through the fields after making contact with Rossetto. Rossetto is out now. Where is Alex Palau? Alex Palau is well down the road, though. Rossetto effectively has kept the lead, and he's going to have about an 8-second gap. In fact, he's got a car between them, and that's Lee McGovern. Lee should not have the pace, so that is not gonna come into play and trying to challenge Rossetto at this moment.
That would mean that actually Kyle Potts' pit stop was pretty slow, within the 6 seconds. Going behind the leaders, going into the pits.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's it. I think Ayrton called it. That's a really bad pit stop.
Santos in.
So now we get a very direct comparison. Santos wisely not wanting to get caught out by the leapfrog maneuver heads into his pit stall. Rossetto is actually just now coming around onto the front straightaway. Santos, I thought, just got into his stall too, so he must have had a...
Yep, there goes Rossetto.
Interesting. Santos now coming out. Wow,
No,
that
Rossetto
was
could have short-fielded.
That's true, that's true. But it seemed like Santos was into his pit stall very late. I don't know. We'll have to check out the pit times and see how they compare. So this means that, oh, interesting, we've got a slow Matt Malone out on course. 2.7 second stop while stopped for which driver? Excuse me, 2.7 second difference. Matt Malone could run out of fuel here. Matt Malone is extremely slow on course.
Yeah, he's run out of fuel.
Oh. Look at him weaving the car. I don't think that actually works in the digital world. Trying to get some fuel down there. He pushed it a little too far. This must be a fuel 100 track because they can usually make it to about a half an hour, and he's still got 20 minutes left.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You're full for a good portion of this lap.
This is true. This is true. So. Wow. This is something that we hadn't considered in the pre-race, that these guys have to think about their fuel consumption as we watch Alex Palau with a slightly bent-up car. currently sitting in third. In fact, let's go through our order real quickly of the top guys. Rossetto is back into the lead. He's got about a 2.7 second lead over Daniel Santos, which we understand was the difference in the pit stops between those two. Alex Balau is in third, and then Kyle Potts following not far behind in fourth, having an excellent race. Started in 12th spot, and this is legitimate, I believe. I mean, there's been a few cars up front that have run into trouble, but he hasn't. I mean, it's not like he's out of the pit sequence or anything here. This is legitimate.
And if Kyle Potts has less damaged car, and he did take tires in that pit stop, so he has fresher tires, so he should be able to catch up to Alex Blau and compete for this podium.
Well, meanwhile, behind him, he does have Leandro Schmidt, who's been one of the very fast guys before. And Schmidt sitting in fifth at the moment. He's got about 2 seconds between himself and Potts to try and run down. So we'll have to see if he'll be under threat later in the race as well. But just behind Schmidt, he's also got Derek Waller, who's putting the pressure on, Bill.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Now, Schmidt's had a little trouble early in the race, but now he's got a little rhythm going on. See how Waller does when he finishes up through here.
Everybody's kind of starting to get their space out on the track as we watch Waller being hunted down by Romer Alcala as well behind him, but he's not close enough. Just a little bit down the road, I wonder if we can get the cameras on Dustin Wardlow, because he's currently hunting down John LaBaff. In fact, I think these guys were fighting a little bit earlier on. This is for 10th and 11th position. Oh, and Wardlow into the wall! Once again, another driver, Bill, by the difficulty of these DPs as we watch the replay.
And he's just put it in the wall, trying to get it going.
I think that car is just about done for the day. And Dustin is warning drivers that he is slowing the carousel as we look back at Derek Waller, who is sitting in that 6th position just behind Leandro Schmidt, and definitely very much on the back spoiler of that car. He is not letting him rest. In fact, he's going to have a good tow, Aaron.
He's going to get a really good run here. I'm actually kind of surprised. Leandro Schmidt, he's really had a bad season so far. Derek Waller's going to go to the outside into the inner loop. Can't quite get far enough nose ahead, but I mean, Leandro Schmidt, he's just been having awful races so far this season. Just mistakes after mistakes. He can't quite get it together.
And Romero Alcala is starting to close up behind them as well. You can see Romero and Derek in the similar red and black machines, the players' machines there just ahead of them. And nothing doing through Indianapolis corner as they just regroup. With Derek Waller having lost a little bit of ground after a failed attempt into the inner loop. They still have 16 minutes left to go on the clock, though. So there's still time, and it's looking like Waller is punchy, and he's got the pace.
And I can confirm that Kyle Potts is actually closing in on Alex Blau. He's closed in about second in the last couple laps.
Yeah, Aaron, Blau's car's got to have a little damage after that accident that he's got, so he's probably not up to speed.
Whoa, and he goes to the outside trying to see if he can make something happen. He's got the speed this time. If he can stay, outbrake him. Yes, he's cleanly by. So Derek Waller up into 5th position, top 5.
Major Schmidt's not going to give this up. He's going to try to get a run out of the carousel. It looks like actually Derek Waller is going to get a better run on the exit of that. But Leandro Schmidt still has the draft here, so the next few corners he can probably make another move.
Absolutely. You know, I almost feel like if I was Leandro, I would just maybe hold on a little bit until later laps, since there's no cautions to worry about. I don't know. I would think since Derek has been, sort of hassling him for a number of laps, there's no point in just getting right back in front of him. Might as well just give him some time. Meanwhile, we're looking at Brian Shanahan on screen. That is in 13th position. And he has the car of Velasco a little bit behind him, but not close enough to be a threat.
I don't know if you caught it on screen. He just went around him. Now he's putting him in his rearview mirror. Shanahan's on his way. Next on the list is Snyder.
It looks like Velasco has some serious damage on the front as well. I can't remember when that happened. I feel like we had actually seen that on screen earlier in the race. Velasco slipping well down the order. In fact, Oh, actually, no, he qualified in 11th. So this is not Velasco's track, apparently, as we watch Romero Alcala have a very close moment with Leandro Schmidt just ahead of him through the carousel. Now he closes up, has the draft down the backstretch towards Indianapolis. It looks like Schmidt's going to go defensive, almost squeezes him off track, 2 wheels off, just a little bit of contact into the rear, almost pushes him off track, switches to the over-under, but he's on the wrong side. Whoa, and a side-to-side contact. That was not intentional, though. That was just Leandro Schmidt loosed it under braking. As they work their way. Go ahead.
It's a good thing that Romero Alcala didn't get ricocheted into the wall, because that would have ended his race, but Leandro Schmidt heads straight into the wall after turn 1. That's probably going to be the end of this race.
Oh, you were talking earlier about him just not getting good results there, and this is going to be another one to tick off and just maybe not one to look back on for a while.
Well, this is great for Derek Waller, because now he has no pressure whatsoever, and he's been running extremely fast laps. 2 laps ago, he ran 0.2 seconds faster than his qualifying lap. Obviously, that was help with the draft from Schmidt, but he's definitely closing in on Kyle Potts in 4th place.
Yeah, and he, like you said, he's got that little bit of a gap. But guess who else has a gap? Daniel Santos, who we see on screen, is about 6 seconds behind Bruno Rossetto. So Rossetto continues to extend his lead. Meanwhile, Alex Bilbao, he has Kyle Potts very close behind him. We're on Ricardo Inacio. And we're now on Bilbao, whose machine you can see is a bit bent up, and he might be suffering from some top speed loss, Bill. And Potts is just inching towards him lap after lap. He's got 13 minutes to do it, so a little less than 13 laps, I believe.
I think inching is an understatement. He's getting them gobbling up the time. He'll be there in a lap or 2.
So we're also getting some information that you can lose some aero when you cross the ripple strip on the far left. So these guys have to be wary of that as well. And we'll see if who's maybe towing the line on that one and not aware of that little feature of this track. Meanwhile, look at Kyle Potts continuing to close. He's got the draft now. He is closing in big time. It's only a matter of time. He's going to have a car that's in better shape and tires that are much fresher.
Yeah, Alex Bilbao is really struggling with his damage right now. I don't think he'll even be able to stand a chance on the next coming front stretch going into the inner loop, because Kyle Potts is just going to have that draft, and Alex Bilbao, I think his damage is actually affecting his straight line speed, not actually his cornering, so he's going to be at a huge disadvantage.
Well, fortunately for Kyle, he gave the apex a bit of a miss through turn 1 there, so he didn't get quite as close as I'm sure he wanted, but he's still got a whiff of that draft from Alex Bilbao, and now it's really coming on, as you can see visually in his car as he's closing in on the rear spoiler of the machine ahead of him of Alex Bilbao, but there's not enough time on the backstretch as they head through the inner loop and now through the carousel. Could he have it this time into Indianapolis?
And Joe, just behind them, in vision of them, is Waller and Alcala, who are really making it coming up. In fact, here goes Alcala around Waller right now for maybe 1/5 place, I guess.
I believe that is a lapped car. That's Lee McGovern, who he is heading around. So,
you're right.
so Derek Waller's still sitting in 5th position. However, if these guys start to battle and Potts can't get it done quickly, that's going to mean Derek Waller is going to be eyeing maybe a podium potentially, as we still are on board with Potts down the front stretch trying to close in on the back of that machine of Alex Bilbao, who goes very wide through turn 1, now up through the S's. He's much closer this time by. Is he going to be able to breeze past? Now the final right-hander, now onto the back stretch. He pulls to the outside. He's got the momentum. He is well past, well before Kyle Potts is onto the podium for the first time. And we're watching a battle between Romero Alcala and Inacio. Inacio takes the position, so Romero Alcala slipping backwards, and that's going to move him into 7th as Ricardo moves up into 6th in the blue and white machine.
Which one of you guys chose Rossetto for the win for this race?
I think I was calling Bilal, I believe.
Because Santo
And Bill is conspicuously silent and giggling.
Santo is running extremely fast. He ran 2 sub 108 minute lap times, which was faster than any lap time in this whole session for practice, qualifying, and throughout the race. So he is running all out on his own and extremely fast.
Absolutely, and in fact, our top 3 are looking pretty well settled at the moment because there's 8 seconds between Santos and Rossetto and 10 seconds between Potts and Santos. However, Potts could still lose it if he makes a mistake. Bilal is holding on. He's using that draft at this moment to try and ride those coattails, so he is not giving up yet, although it's going to be a very hard ask for him to try and sneak his way past Potts.
Oh, Romero Alcala, he cut the inner loop.
So further problems for Romer as he slips down farther away from Ignacio. And in fact, he lost a position to Scarallo as well. Wow, you can see in the replay, quite a ride across the grass there.
Yeah, he actually had contact with Ignacio entering the corner.
Ooh, so that's never what we like to see between drivers. Unfortunately, just not working out at the end of this race for Romero Alcala. He had good pace earlier on. However, he qualified in 8th. So if he finishes in 8th, which he is right now, he's not going to lose or gain anything. He's got quite a bit of a gap back to John LeBaff. He's got about 5 seconds, 6 seconds back to him. So I think he's pretty safe at this point if he can just run it home. He's got about 8 minutes just to rifle off some clean laps.
Joe, the draft must be phenomenal because there's no way Bilal should be able to hang on to Potts, but I think that's really the best thing that could have happened to Bilal was to let Potts around him, because Waller's not able to close in on these guys now. Waller was in 5th place, was gaining on Bilal when Bilal was ahead of Potts, now that I've confused everybody. But now that Bilal is behind Potts, Waller's not able to make up any ground, and the vessel in the pestle has a hell of a points. And back to you, Joe.
Well, I was going to say, you actually brought up a very good point, Bill, and that's that these cars have a fixed setup. And Ayrton, it's a very high downforce setup, and that really comes into play both into how aggressively they can corner and how big of a hole in the air they're punching.
Yeah, and our director put it pretty much straightforward for us. This is the road course version of a super speedway race in NASCAR. These guys are all relying on the draft to gain positions.
We're currently on board with Jonathan Scarallo, but let's up with Bilal because he is actually closed up on the back of Potts. I thought he was going to maybe try and see if he could do anything, but he's decided to just hold on to the draft. But Potts is getting held up just a little bit by Bruce Poole. Lapped car you can see in the green and black, who moves to the outside now, decides to let them on through.
That's how you do it. Nice job, Bruce.
And look at Bilal in the black and white machine with the damaged nose still closing up, but I think he's just playing it smart. I'm pretty sure that draft should have allowed him to close up, even with his damage, right on the back of Potts, but he is just lifting or something there.
Well, Potts did have the draft from the lap car in front, so that gave him an advantage on that straight.
That's true, but he also he didn't have that lapped car heading towards Indianapolis, and Bilal wasn't really closing at as quick of a rate as I would thought, even though his nose was right under him. So I think Bilal is biding his time.
Kind of keep an eye on. It was my pick for the winners. Jonathan Scolaro now has ran down Ricardo Ignacio for 6th place. He's going to get him here pretty soon.
So Scarallo is moving backwards a bit, I suppose.
Well,
no, actually,
yeah,
no. He
was up there and then he got moved down. He's making his way back to the field.
That's true. And right now, closing in on Ignacio. Sorry, I was paying attention to other things, so I think I just unfortunately missed your point just a little bit. So, anyways, Ricardo Ignacio currently leading ahead of Scarallo, and that is 6th and 7th position. We're on board with Scarallo, following behind Ricardo at the moment as we head through the final corner.
The viewers need to realize how much we multitask around here, where we have to do something and listen to our fellow commentators at the same time.
And think of what we're going to say next.
Right,
yeah.
it's rough.
But our job right now is not nearly as tough as some of these guys out there. And in fact, right now Santos is putting a lap on Ruben Velasco. Boy, I didn't think we'd see that one. And I think that's actually legitimate pace, because remember, Velasco qualified 11th. He's currently sitting 14th. So this is a bad day for a guy who was fighting for second place 2 weeks ago at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, I can't quite get it with Ruben Velasco because he was fastest in practice, so he looked pretty good, but then he had a terrible qualifying run, and I wonder if he got involved in an accident and has some damage or something, but he's just really struggling on pace.
So I'm curious how much money is going to your bookie, Bill, because I'm looking at the positions here. Look at 20th right now.
Yeah, you know, and I gotta talk to your Hero is the most polite driver. He actually pulls over and basically stops and have lunch to let the leaders go by. So you gotta keep up the pace a little bit there as our leader goes by a lap.
Yeah, that's George Fike that he's going by. So
let's go ahead. Let's stay on the leader. We can get a look at the most beautiful car, at least on my screen. You have that same color on your screen? I hope the viewers do. Of Lance Snyder. You guys looking at that?
I was actually last broadcast. My father watched and he was arguing with me because I called it pink and he said it was purple. So I said magenta. We'll split the difference.
It's fluorescent. I'll say that.
Yeah, that it is. Rossetto is not going to miss him. That's for sure, as now he's going to be able to accelerate past. Let's see if Snyder just lifts a little bit. No, he's going to just hold on to it, going to make him outbrake him into the corner, and he does cleanly. So Rossetto squeezes on through. No harm, no foul. He's still got 11 seconds over Santos, so there is no harm done on that one. Meanwhile, look at Alex Palau still holding on to the back of Kyle Potts for that third position. Is he going to cause heartbreak for Potts? Potts has not yet had a podium position this season in this car. So it looks like he might try to pull a fast one on him. Look at how close he is, even with the damaged car. How quickly Potts caught up to him, and yet he can't run away from that black and white machine.
What do you think's going on there, Aaron? I can't believe that he's able to do that.
He might, yeah, he's going to be waiting for the last lap for this. He's lifting off there, so he can still hold on to the draft and maybe even get a run, but it's going to be a lot more difficult for him to do it on Kyle Potts than Kyle Potts was able to do it on him due to that damage.
Absolutely.
Right.
And
yeah.
It sounds like we've got a battle between George Fike and Lance Snyder, who we were watching just a little bit earlier as the leaders had gone by. Fike closing up on the back of him. If he can just get a decent run, yes, he does. Ayrton, this is going to be a good opportunity for him to try and draft on by on the backstretch.
Yeah, when you were mentioning this color, I was thinking, I wonder if it's a racing strategy to blind your opponents as they go by.
Well, I don't think it's particularly working right now on Fike, although Fike isn't really closing up too terribly quick. He could be employing the strategy that we're seeing from Alex a little bit farther up the field, maybe just biding his time. He knows he's got another lap or two before he's going to get that white flag out. Sounds like we got a three-way battle a little bit farther back. We're looking at Brian Shanahan, Ruben Velasco, and Dustin Wardlow. Shanahan up in front of the group in the green and white machine, followed by the blue and white DP, then the white car of Dustin Wardlow just behind them. And this will give us a good viewing point, actually, because just behind them is Kyle Potts and Alex Palau.
Yeah, there's only 10 cars right now in the lead lap.
And Alex Palau put a wheel off, and he might have lost the draft. If Potts can get by these guys quick enough, this could be the moment that Potts needs to try and break that draft from Palau. He put two wheels into the dirt out of the carousel.
Joe, let me say this real quickly. In the driver instructions, they were saying that if you were battling for a position, you do not have to go. I heard a crash somewhere. You do not have to get out of the way.
And these guys are not getting out of the way, although Kyle Potts slips up the inside of Dustin Wardlow. That's one car he's put between them. Now he's up the inside of Velasco. That's two cars now. Can he break away from Alex Palau? We've got 20 seconds left on the clock. This should be the final lap, and Palau has actually clipped the wall. So that should be that for the third position. position if Potts can just hold on to it. Meanwhile, let's jump up to Rossetto. He's got 2 more corners. He's going to make it 2 wins this season. That's going to help him in the championship to close up on our leader, Bilal. And now, as weaving across the track just as time finishes, Bruno Rossetto takes the win in round 6 by a comfortable margin. As we go back to Daniel Santos, it's about 12 seconds difference, and there's still that battle for 12th going on, though. And that battle is over, but Daniel Santos does come home in second. Let's switch to Kyle Potts. Give him some credit here because his first podium of the season. Kyle Potts takes third with Alex Bilal just a little bit behind in fourth after struggling from damage. And just to show you how short the track is, Eric Waller 5th, Ricardo Nacio in 6th, Jonathan Squirrel 7th, Romero Alcalo 8th, John LaBaff now coming home in 9th, and our last car on the lead lap, John Kelly in 10th. Only 10 cars out of 25.
That's 25th starting position to 10th for John Kelly, so that's a nice finish for him.
Well, since we've got all our finishers done, round 6 is in the books, and Bruno Rossetto comes home with the win. We'll give you the unofficial results after the break. We'll have some interviews, so stick around.
Welcome to DIYSim.com, your source for your entire do-it-yourself simulator building experience. Whether your goal is to build a full-motion flight simulation cockpit with all 6 degrees of freedom, or find plans to build a full-motion racing simulation cockpit with anywhere from 1 degree of freedom all the way up to 6, DIY Sim has the products, plans, and resources to help you make it happen. Our DIY Sim brand is backed by one of the most innovative sim-building organizations in the world. Simcraft creates driver, in-the-loop simulators with proper kinetics for motion simulation, a technology that is unique to Simcraft, and which accurately recreates high-speed vehicle dynamics. Simcraft simulator systems enable drivers to develop and enhance their car control skills efficiently and effectively, any track, any car, any day, all day. DIYSim.com has it all. Please start and finish your sim building experiences with us.
Six rounds have now been completed in the VSRA DIYSim.com American Road Tour, and Bruno Rossetto is our second two-time winner this season. Daniel Santos followed him home in second place, and Kyle Potts took his first podium of the season here at Watkins Glen. Alex Balau finished in fourth, Derek Waller took home fifth, followed by Ricardo Inacio in sixth, Jonathan Scorallo in seventh, Romer Alcala in eighth, John LaBaff in ninth, and John Kelly getting a top 10 today, Ayrton.
Then Lance Snyder in the Magenta car in 11th, George Fike in 12th, Marcio Arzon in 13th, Brian Shanahan in 14th, Ruben Velasco with an unfortunate 15th, Dustin Wardlow in 16th, Bruce Poole in 17th, Matt Malone in 18th, Lee McGovern in 19th, and Hiro Kanea in 20th. Bill?
I set that over under on Hero at 20, and he finishes at 20. You guys email me. I'll give you the picks for tomorrow night's Monday Night Football game. 21st, Robertson. 22nd is Knapp. Leandro Schmidt got in trouble. He's much faster than that. He ended up in 23rd as he finished 12 laps back. Anderson Moda had connection problems, 30 laps back. Matthew the Thrill Thill put it in the wall early, 38 laps back. And Pratik Nguyen rounds out the field in 26th.
So we have our winner ready to talk to us, and that was Bruno Rossetto. Bruno, you definitely had to fight for this one, although the second half you seemed to have it under control. And that battle with Scorallo, what was going through your mind when you put the two wheels off? Was it just kind of foot down and not give up, or what was happening in your head in the moment?
Oh, good night, guys. Just another good race today. With John Scorallo, I got a very nice battle on this time in the straight that I put my wheels on grass. I really thought he was going to give me the position because I put it inside. So I don't know if was any kind of penalty or something like that, but I think was a good fight.
You got a very good start and was able to get past Alex Balau at the beginning of the race. Do you think that was critical in helping you to be able to fight for the win later on?
Absolutely. Alex Balau is one of the great drivers of the season. So when I see that he just pulled out in the track in the first corner, I put inside and got able to overtake him. So yes, one of the keys of the win.
Well, you are now our second two-time winner this season. Well done, and this is definitely going to help you in the championship as you finished both ahead of Moda and Balau. So, absolutely excellent job. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you a lot, guys. Let's keep running to the championship. Good night.
Up next, we have our second place finisher, Daniel Santos, and Bill Zahn is going to talk to him.
Do we have Anderson Moda? Are you here to do a little translation for me, Anderson?
Yes, I will try.
Great. And you finished 3 laps back, so we're just going to say sorry about your race. We'll see you next week when you do better. Daniel, did you have fun? Anderson, if you could ask Daniel if he had fun in the battle with Rossetto and Scolaro.
E pediu se se divertiu brigando com o Rossetto e com o Scorallo.
Bom, primeiramente, boa noite aí ao pessoal da VSRA, parabenizar o Caio e o Bruno, principalmente o Bruno, que fez uma excelente corrida, um grande pace no final. Bom, foi bastante divertido. Queria até deixar aqui, pedir desculpa pro Ricardo e pro Velasco, a gente dividiu ali o S algumas vezes, e se houve algum toque, para mim aparentemente não pareceu, até porque deu 0x, mas eu vi que eles desapareceram no retrovisor, então acho que não teve nada demais. Mas foi realmente bastante divertido, e até que o Scorallo teve um toque ali, não sei se foi um toque com o Bruno ou foi um netcode, E aí foi difícil pra tirar ali, mas eu consegui me livrar bem ali da rodada dele e prosseguir até o final. Mas foi divertido. Obrigado aí, pessoal.
Anderson, I got most of that, but maybe you could tell the rest of the people what he said.
Well, Daniel said he had a lot of fun, but first of all, he forgot congratulating Seto and Kyle because of the race. But yes, he had a lot of fun, and he asking apologize for Velasco, and because they hit and well, it happened. Man, very funny race, he said.
How do you say thank you in Portuguese, Anderson?
Obrigado.
Obrigado. Thank you, Daniel.
Obrigado. Yes.
Back to you, Joe.
All right. Up next, we have our third place finisher, Kyle Potts. We've talked to him a lot, but never for a podium finish. And Ayrton is going to talk to him.
Thanks, Joe. Well, first of all, congratulations on a podium, Kyle.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys.
So, you started in 12th place, which definitely is a very good run from third. You had a really good battle with Bilal at the end there. He had damage, so what was your strategy thinking? Did you think that he would be able to try to pass you with the draft near the end? Did you think he was waiting for a last lap pass? Or were you just really confident that you had the pace over him?
Well, I figured after I started catching him that he had to have some sort of damage, and then when I went past, I seen him in my rear view ahead of it. I have a pretty big chunk on the front end there, so I knew he wasn't going to be too fast on the straightaway, but he still had a couple runs. I mean, he could have put his nose in there, but I'm glad he didn't. I was really glad to see some back markers there on that last lap or whatever it was, trying to get some draft to break away from him. He didn't seem too awful hurried to try and pass me. I think he was pretty satisfied with his fourth right there, but no, that was no real strategy there, just get in front of him and try and break draft, but that didn't really happen. He's pretty quick.
Yeah, and this race will definitely help you in the championship. You finished higher up than anyone else ahead of you in the championship. Anderson Moto obviously had that big crash at the beginning of the race, and actually he had a disconnection, not a crash. And he finished ahead of Alex Blau. So, do you think that you want to compete for the championship this season?
Oh well, definitely. You know, the first and third race where I messed up in the front, those really, hurt me in the championship. I wanted to be fighting. Last season I was fourth, had a few bad races. This season had a couple bad races, but I had a lot more better ones. So I don't know. I definitely want to fight for the championship, but I think it's a little out of my reach. I don't know. I'd have to have some pretty good races coming up, but hey, who knows?
Well, if you keep on running consistent runs like this one,
Right.
You'll definitely get up there.
Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Kyle. Back to you, Joe.
Last up, we finally have Derek Waller, our top 5 finisher. And Derek, you had an almighty scrap for part of the race with your teammate Romero Alcala and with Leandro Schmidt. Were you surprised to be fighting with Leandro or for a top 5, or did you expect that today?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping my Daytona days was over and I wouldn't spin on the last lap, so I was just trying to keep it on track, and Romer helped me a lot with the draft after that contact at the bus stop, able to catch back up.
Yeah, when that happened, I think we saw it briefly on screen. Was it just something in the heat of the moment of being unsighted, or what exactly? How did that happen?
I think it was just he broke just a little too late. He was down on the inside and just went straight on, so I tried to avoid him and just cut the bus stop.
Well, excellent heads up on that, and again, a great job on a top 5 finish. Are you satisfied with that?
Yes, I am. I'd like to thank Lit Motorsports, DIY Sim, and VSRA for putting on this awesome show.
Well, hopefully you've got some friends and family able to watch and see that you've finished it with a great finish today. Thanks for coming to talk to us, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, we have to close up, unfortunately. After 6 rounds gone, we've got 3 more to go now, so the championship is really coming down to the end of it. But before we go, let's thank a few people, such as DIYSim.com, the official sponsor of the American Road Tour. We've got a little bit of singing accompaniment from Bill, unfortunately, there.
The director
Also,
didn't like it. I was trying to add a little flavor. I was going to give you some Brazil 66 there. Okay.
All right,
Go ahead,
then.
Joe. I'll behave.
Okay. Also, want to thank the VSRA, the organizer of this league, and also iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, Audio Technica, and AverMedia, the software and hardware that we use to make these broadcasts possible. Thanks to the team today, singing and all. If you'd like to find more about GSRC, you can find it at www.globalsimracingchannel.com, along with archived races and race highlights. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel. A thanks goes out to Doug Beard, who creates all the camera sets for the Global Sim Racing Channel. And a special thank you to Eric Ekholm, whose music is not only found here on GSRC, but in TV commercials, movie trailers, iTunes, and Spotify. If you like our music, tell Eric where you heard it at Eric Ekholm on Twitter. Additional thanks go out to Casey Lalonde, who also provides us with the music for our broadcast. You can find more of his music at caseylalonde.bandcamp.com, and he's got a new album coming out very soon. He's going to make an announcement about that imminently.
I ordered mine in 8-track. I have mine coming in 8-track.
Not vinyl. Well, that's interesting.
No.
Well, our next race in this series is going to be at Indianapolis. That'll be Sunday, September 28th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Our next broadcast is going to be the ASRS at Las Vegas. The chase is on in that one. That's Wednesday, September 24th at 9 p.m. Eastern. And of course, the iSuper Speedway Series goes to Daytona once again, Friday, September 26th at 10 p.m. Eastern. Then, of course, we've got the Blondie Series going to Road Atlanta, the club course. That'll be Saturday, October 4th, 6 p.m. UTC. That is going to be some chaos for sure. The Continental Endurance Sports Car Series, of course, heads to Road America on Saturday, October 4th as well at 10:30 p.m. UTC. And then the Northwest Majors goes to Road Atlanta for the Petite Le Mans Sunday, October 5th. At 5:45 p.m. Pacific. And then don't forget Championship Motorsports comes back to GSRC at Interlagos. That'll be Wednesday, October 8th at 9:45 p.m. Eastern. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.
Welcome to DIYSim.com, your source for your entire do-it-yourself simulator building experience. Whether your goal is to build a full-motion flight simulation cockpit with all 6 degrees of freedom, or find plans to build a full-motion racing simulation cockpit with anywhere from 1 degree of freedom all the way up to 6, DIY Sim has the products, plans, and resources to help you make it happen. Our DIY Sim brand is backed by one of the most innovative sim building organizations in the world. Simcraft creates driver, in-the-loop simulators with proper kinetics for motion simulation, a technology that is unique to Simcraft and which accurately recreates high-speed vehicle dynamics. Simcraft simulator systems enable drivers to develop and enhance their car control skills efficiently and effectively, any track, any car, any day, all day. DIYSim.com has it all. Please start and finish your sim building experiences with us.